Today, I'm taking you through a step-by-step guide to create the perfect workout plan. Whether you want to run faster, lift heavier, get stronger, lose fat, gain muscle, or even if you're a beginner and you just want to build a consistent routine, I've got you. And here's the deal, I've seen it all before, okay? I am a certified personal trainer. I've bought about 1 million fitness programs myself, and I've also created my own fitness programs using the steps that we're going to talk about today. So on the agenda, we'll talk about picking a goal, figuring out what's realistic and creating a schedule, choosing your workouts in your weekly split, progressive overload, how to make your workouts more efficient, variety versus consistency, avoiding overtraining, managing intensity, and my final thoughts in case you're feeling overwhelmed or confused. I am so excited. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. First, we need to pick a goal, whether you want to lose fat, build muscle, get stronger, improve your running endurance. For example, I am training to do a high rocks this year. Now here's the deal. I'm gonna ask you to focus on one goal at a time. I mean, if you want to do 2 or 3 goals at once, you can, but you have to keep in mind you are going to progress a lot slower when you do that, and it's just gonna be a lot less effective. Next thing we need to think about is scheduling and what's actually gonna be realistic for you. My advice here is not to use your dream version of yourself, but instead to use your actual self and your current self. So this is the time to grab your calendar and start with the time blocks for the commitments that you have, whether that's work, school, family, whatever. Then once you have those commitments blocked in first, find the realistic time blocks for your workouts. And this needs to include getting ready for the gym, driving, parking, whatever you need to do around your session. So at this point, you should know how many sessions you're gonna do each week and about how long each of those sessions will be. Personally, I like to do 4 to 5 sessions a week. I remember back in the day, I used to think if I wasn't working out every single day that was somehow a failure, which is certainly not the case. And personally, all of my sessions are 45 minutes or less. So just something to keep in mind, you can see really great results if you don't have hours and hours to spend in the gym every week. And here's the thing, you can always add more sessions over time if you want to. If you write an optimized perfect plan, but you only end up being able to do half of the workouts you write each week, that's not really optimized anymore because you're missing half of those sessions. You're just not going to get the adaptations you want. So I always like to start with something that's realistic that I know I can accomplish, optimize for that, and then slowly add in over time. Okay, now we're getting into the workouts themselves and the weekly split. If you're unfamiliar, a split is essentially just the different workouts that you're gonna do throughout the week. Some people like to split it out by muscle group if you want to get really specific. So for example, an upper body day where you're just focusing on your biceps, triceps, and shoulders or something like that. I like to do it a little bit more general. I'll have an upper body focused lift and a lower body focused lift, and then I always do my cardio on separate days. It really does just come down to your goals and preferences, and there's pros and cons to different ways that you can divide your sessions. I personally wouldn't get too into the weeds with how you're going to do your split. I think what's most important is that you're just getting those sessions in a way that's sustainable for you and that supports your goals. If your goal is to kind of just build consistency and have a sort of well-rounded routine, here's a split that I personally really like and I've used a lot. I like to do 1 upper body weightlifting session, 1 lower body weightlifting session, 1 quick session. So this can be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. And I like to do something that's a little bit higher intensity, like HIIT or a core workout. And if I don't have the energy for that, then I will swap in mobility or flexibility work instead if I'm kind of a little bit low energy that day. And then I like to sprinkle in as much low intensity cardio, think like walking or hiking, throughout the week as possible because that is really great for your cardiovascular systems. Hopefully that was helpful just to give you an idea of what a program might look like, but I personally like to keep it pretty simple and straightforward and kind of go back to those basic principles of how can I get some cardio in, how can I get some weightlifting in, and depending on what my focus is at the time, how can I really just find the most efficient way to do that. When it comes to choosing the contents of your workout, so the actual exercises that you'll be performing, there's honestly just too many different exercises for me to even get into right now, but I will say if you're a complete beginner, I would highly recommend getting inspiration online. So once you figure out your split, so knowing, okay, I'm gonna do an upper body, a lower body, and a full body lift this week. Maybe that's what your split is gonna be because you have a goal to build muscle. What I would do in that situation if you're a beginner is just look up upper body workout on YouTube or Instagram or whatever and follow those, kind of dabble with different workouts. And over time, in my experience, you start to learn the exercises that you like or don't like, what works for you, and kind of how to structure a workout in a balanced way. But I really just find it's easiest to follow examples rather than trying to write your own from scratch because there is actually kind of a lot that goes into choosing the exercises that you're gonna do. Let's chat progressive overload because in my opinion, this is one of the most important parts of any workout plan. If you want to continue progressing and continue seeing results, you have to keep increasing the intensity over time. The reason for this is because our bodies are so incredible and so adaptable. If we do the same things over and over, we lift the same weights, or we run the same distances, eventually our bodies adapt and get used to it, and it's no longer challenging for us. And we need that challenge to stimulate results or adaptations, such as building muscle, improving our cardiovascular fitness, things like that. I think when we hear progressive overload, it's easy to assume that we need to be increasing the intensity a lot week over week, which is not the case. The progression can be as small as a couple of % increase in difficulty week over week to see actually really great results. Let's talk about the ways to achieve progressive overload, because it's not just increasing the weight. So with weightlifting, you can progressively overload your workouts by improving your form, slowing down your tempo and remaining controlled in your movements, increasing your weight, increasing your reps, the number of times that you repeat the exercise, increasing your sets, or even reducing your rest time so you don't have as much time to recover before you start your next set. For cardiovascular workouts, I feel like it's a little bit more obvious, but I'll run through that as well. We're basically looking at going faster, going for longer, or also improving your form. Let's chat efficiency, because efficiency is honestly my specialty, if I do say so myself. I don't have endless time to be working out. I need to get in, get out, get it done. I've done so much research on this as well as trial and error, and I've designed my entire 8-week workout guide around this principle. Here are some ways that you can get more bang for your buck, the same adaptations and results in less time. First thing is increasing the intensity of your sessions. So in terms of cardio, some ways that I like to do this are HIIT, high intensity interval training workouts, sprints, or circuit training, which is essentially when you do multiple different movements back to back without rest, and then you don't rest until you've completed all of those movements in a row. So for example, maybe you do push-ups, maybe you do jump squats, and maybe you do treadmill sprints all back to back, and then rest after completing all of those exercises. With weightlifting, you can increase intensity by using supersets, which is where you complete 2 exercises back to back. So for example, maybe you do 8 reps of a bicep curl, and then you go straight into 8 reps of a lateral raise, and then rest after completing both. That would be an example of a superset. You can also reduce rest time between sets, which makes it so much more difficult, gets your heart rate up, and obviously makes your workout quicker. I also love doing rep challenges where I say, okay, I'm going to complete 20 reps of each exercise. I'm going to rest only as needed. And I just go through a big long list of different exercises. In general, one of my biggest tips is to make sure that you are pushing yourself near failure with every single set. And every once in a while, just test yourself. See what failure actually feels like. Because I feel like a lot of the time we think we're near failure, and in reality, we have a lot more in the tank. Next thing I love is double dipping. So I love multitasking my workouts. I love a walk and talk workout where I'm like walking and talking on the phone, or I'm walking or taking a hike with friends and family. I also love walking and working. I have a standing desk and a walking pad. Speaking of, standing desks are really great, super helpful. There's some pretty affordable ones on Amazon. I'll link the one that I have down below in case you want to check it out. I like it because it's really affordable and light, and it's pretty easy to assemble. I do have to be honest though, my boyfriend assembled it for me, but he said it was easy to assemble. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of finding ways to multitask and get some extra movement into your day, even if it's as simple as standing at your desk for a few minutes. Like, these things actually can have a big impact. Last thing is finding quick slots to get workouts in. So if you're looking at your schedule, like, I don't know when I'm going to fit my training in. Like, I am so busy. Trust me, I have been there too. I feel you. I love a midday, like lunchtime session, especially if you work from home. Do you have 10 minutes while your water is boiling for pasta to like get a quick ab session in? I love doing a little bit of yoga or mobility in the morning before I start working for the day. Just promise me you won't discount a workout and say that it's a waste of time if it's like only 10 or 15 minutes, because trust me, those little 10 or 15 minute slots add up throughout the week. Let's address the age-old question of variety versus consistency. If you have a particular goal, research shows us again and again that specificity is best. If you want to improve your running, run more. If you want to grow your glutes, lift weights and target your glutes. But here's the thing, I get bored doing the same thing every week. And in the past, when I've forced myself to stick to an optimal plan that I actually hated, I start to resent it and I end up not working out at all. So I do think it's important to find that balance between staying consistent so you can actually see results and improvements, but also making sure that you're having fun and there's variety and interest and you're not getting bored and you're not resenting and hating your fitness routine. And here's the other part of it. Outside of getting bored, I've personally gone all in on weightlifting before, where I was lifting 5 days a week and doing no other type of training, like absolutely no cardio. And yeah, I was strong, but I also couldn't walk up the stairs without getting extremely out of breath because I was doing no cardio. I was like so out of shape. So I also think it's important to consider the trade-offs. I am a huge advocate for being well-rounded. Even when you are focusing on a specific goal, I think it's so important to sprinkle in a little bit of balance, right? So for example, if you're focusing on running, you're preparing for a marathon, I think it's so important to get in that one, maybe full body weightlifting session every single week, or vice versa. Like if you really want to grow some muscle and build out your physique, I think it's so important to find a little bit of time for some cardio work. I think this is best explained through an example. So let's say you want to focus on building muscle, but you also love hiking, or, insert sport sport of choice here. Maybe you can do 3 days of lifting during the week because your main goal is building muscle, and then add in 1 or 2 days of hiking. And of course, you'd probably build muscle a little bit faster if you were lifting for all 4 or 5 days of the week and skipping the hiking altogether. But in this case, I think it's worth it because then you don't have to give up something that you really love. The trade-off though is how much you can improve, right? The more you focus on something and the more time you invest in something, obviously you're gonna see better results. I personally like to dabble. I like to stay relatively balanced in my training styles, and I love switching things up every couple months. Weightlifting is always included in my training programs because it is so important for overall health and well-being, especially for all of the young women out there watching my channel. If you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, now is an amazing time to build up muscle and bone strength. So important for our health, not even just for physique or how you look, although you're gonna look sexy with some muscle on you, I'm telling you that right now. And I always like to try and get at least 1 cardio session in because I like having that level of cardio fitness where I can, walk upstairs without huffing and puffing. Is that too much to ask? Otherwise though, I love to dabble. I love to try new things and switch things up. And for me, that has been a huge part of the reason I've been able to stay consistent over the last, oh my gosh, like 7 years. Staying consistent in the long term is much more important than following an optimal training program, in my humble opinion. Another thing that's really important is avoiding overtraining, overdoing it, managing our intensity. If we overtrain, things will go south really fast. Not only does overtraining just not help us to actually achieve the results that we want, it can also cause really serious health issues. For me, it is very clear when I'm overtrained because I can feel it. There is no question. But I do think that it's kind of individual and it takes some trial and error to know what your limits are. I think it's so important, regardless of whether you're writing your own plan, buying a plan from someone to follow, or getting it from a personal trainer, that you adapt and rework your plan if you feel like you're overdoing it. The same thing goes in the other direction. If things are feeling too easy, finding ways to push yourself and increase the intensity. Here's a quick list of things that I ask myself when I'm deciding when to push myself or when I should rest up, take a little bit of a break. So rest if you are feeling sick or you're recovering from being sick, consistent fatigue, brain fog, suddenly onset depression, anxiety, irritability, agitation, sudden difficulty sleeping, waking up consistently feeling unrefreshed, consistent decrease in energy and performance, soreness to the point of being unable to walk or struggling to move, like definitely take a rest. And if you're feeling cold or flu symptoms from your workouts, and this can even sometimes take a day or 2 to set in, so that is something to watch out for. Now, it's really up to you, but I like to push myself when I'm feeling unmotivated, lazy, or not in the mood, because often once I get started and get through those first few minutes, I actually end up enjoying my workout. If I'm feeling drowsy or tired, I find that movement actually does really help, especially in the morning. I do continue exercising when I'm stressed because exercise can help a lot with stress. If I'm feeling minimal soreness, I do continue to work out because exercise can actually help alleviate soreness, especially if you're doing kind of low intensity cardio. Okay, so we're clear on the symptoms of overtraining and what to kind of look out for, how to decide when to push yourself and when to decrease intensity. But how can we actually manage that intensity? I used to think that a workout only counted if I left the gym like covered in sweat and absolutely dead. I thought people who were in good shape were pushing themselves to their max every single workout, and let me tell you, that is not the case. Now, and even when I was in the absolute best shape of my life, max 2/3 of my sessions per week are high intensity. And it really depends on my stress levels, my recovery. Sometimes I do even less than that. So if I have 5 workouts in a week, 3 of those max will be high intensity sessions where I am going all out, probably sweating, breathing heavy, really trying to get near failure, whether it's cardio or weightlifting. And the other 2 workouts out of the 5 are going to be chill. Things like mobility, Pilates, walking. I probably won't break a sweat or even get out of breath doing those workouts. It really does come down to your own fitness levels, your immune system, how stressed you are. It's going to be different person to person what will feel good for you. But one thing I want to be really clear about is that not every single session needs to be high intensity. In fact, going all out intensity in every single session is a very quick path to overtraining, burnout, and also just not being able to recover and give your muscles and body the time that it needs to actually rebuild and get those adaptations that you're going for. So in terms of decreasing intensity, when I've personally overdone it, I will tend to just take a couple of days off, rest up, try to maybe get some extra sleep. But if you want to continue showing up for your sessions, here are some ways that you can decrease your intensity in those workouts. First thing you can do is decrease your volume, so you can do less repetitions, less sets, lift less weight, shorten your workouts overall, or do less workouts total across the week. You can also decrease your intensity, going at a slower speed if you're running or doing cardio, just not pushing yourself as hard. I wish I could give you an exact prescription for how to perfectly balance your intensity, but honestly, it really is so individual. And I think it's important to just notice the changes, how you're feeling, how you're doing, and be ready to make tweaks tweaks and adjustments. I think a good benchmark is that about half to 2/3 of your sessions can be at a high intensity, but anything more than that, you might start running into some issues. If you are feeling confused right now, my advice to you is actually not to write your own program. Just don't do it. I mean, I completely understand how complicated all of this can feel. I didn't just wake up one day suddenly understanding how all of this works. I've been training myself for 7 years now. I'm a certified personal trainer. I've done hundreds of hours of research on exercise science, and I've bought about a million different fitness apps and programs. When I was a complete beginner, the thing that was the most helpful for me was actually just finding resources online from other trainers. I bought ebooks and fitness guides. I saved workouts on Instagram and YouTube that I would follow along with. I just find that this is the best way to get into health and fitness, is to start by following other programs from people who have that experience and knowledge and background. And then as you start to learn the different exercises, the workout structures, and the things that you like, you can start to dabble with your own programming. If you are looking for some new workouts, you can get the first 7 days of my fitness program completely for free. It's designed to kind of be like a 7-day free trial, but as like a PDF download. I will link it down below in case you want to check it out. If you do enjoy those workouts, you can check out the full version of the guide. It's an 8-week PDF fitness program designed and optimized specifically for a busy schedule. At the end of the day, all movement is good movement. It's so easy to overcomplicate it, but the most important thing is just moving your body in a way that feels good for you. I highly recommend starting there and then getting into the tweaks and optimizations and customizations later once you've kind of built that habit and that base. I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions about workout programming, please leave a comment and I would be happy to help out. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every week, and I will see you next time.